It is by no means a stretch to say that the studio Key that has produced so many phenomenal visual novel series has touched the hearts of so many people. This is a studio that has produced so many stories that really do grab your heartstrings, get you introduced to fantastic characters before just kind of ripping you up. So when I heard about Kaginato, a series that essentially is going to take characters from all these properties and just shove them into one place, kind of something similar to Isekai Quartet, I was absolutely thrilled. But this is my review of Kaginato, a 12-episode series that aired in the fall 2021 anime season. It is a short series, but thankfully has a second season already announced for April 2022. I'm definitely looking forward to that. But this is my review of the first season, so let's jump right into it. Starting off, I will admit that this series has a lot of spoilers for every single one of these series because it's telling jokes about the series themselves, kind of assuming that you've read the visual novels or have watched the anime adaptation. But despite that, I will not have any spoilers here, and I'll be very careful about what I say, so keep that in mind. But Kaginato opens up from the perspective of Yumimi, and she is telling a story to a certain girl. And for those that don't know, Yumimi is from a series called Planetarian, and in that series, she basically is working in a planetarium. And so it kind of opens that setting with her talking about all these certain worlds that are coming together, which kind of indicates the idea of all these different key properties coming to one location. And this quickly jumps into pretty much spoiling every single series. In the first episode, you essentially have them making fun of every single series climax moment, taking that key pivotal point of each of those stories and just flipping on its head and having fun with it. And it's a nice warm-up to what the rest of the series is. Again, it's this concept of taking these properties, these little jokes surrounding it, either based on what fans believe happens with the series, what their thoughts are of different characters, and really playing off of it. And having these mashup points with all these characters, certain characters meeting each other, all for the punchline that if you're a fan of every single one of these series, or just some of them, you're going to find a lot of laughs here. But again, under the speculation and the warning that this basically spoils a lot of these characters and their stories. And this is all done in kind of a chibi style art form that's more kind of impactful for the comedic beats. Say for one episode where they have kind of a swimsuit episode and only certain characters are able to gain these temporary full forms just for the, erotic nature of it. But again, it's just to have all these characters come to one place and really have them bounce off each other. And that's where I get into my thoughts on the series. I absolutely love this series. And this is coming from somebody who's literally watched every single one of these key masterpieces. Save for one, I did watch the anime adaptation of Rewrite, but I will obviously admit that rewrite was not really what was expected there, and it didn't really get too much into characters. But despite that limited knowledge that I have on Rewrite, I didn't really find myself at all confused with any of these jokes. And I think it's helped by the fact that so many characters from the key properties are such iconic characters. They leave such an impact that the moment you see them on the screen, even in chibi format, you just know the jokes. Obviously, when you see characters from Kanan show up and suddenly the mom's there and she's got a jar, you know what that jar is. When you have Misuzu constantly showing up and saying goal, you know what that joke is. And everybody's obsessions with Riki from Little Busters is just, it never gets old. These are iconic characters that all have these really great stories behind them, and so much, again, to really pick at. And not only that, but really every now and then playing off the fandom itself as well. As early on, you have Rio's character show up from Clannad, and she's struggling with all these, titles that people have given her, this perspective that people believe in this one character. And it's also very surprising just kind of how mean it gets. Like this series really didn't hold anything back. You have a lot of characters here that have gone through some really crappy stuff, and it doesn't seem like the writer really cares to not hurt feelings. And that's, like I said before, hearing Misuzu say goal over and over again, I'm like, you suck. You really do suck. I don't find this funny, but I'm laughing anyways. It's just got some really great comedy here, and I'm really surprised exactly how much. Technically, they have a lot of content to work with, so it doesn't surprise me too much there. And that's what really has me excited for even going into a second season. They technically did introduce a new cast at the very end of this season, so that's exciting. But it's just a great thing to work with. I mean, having this one episode where essentially all the protagonists come together and talk about their woes and their achievements was just, you knew it was coming, and there it is. Again, similar to something like Isekai Quartet, where you did have all the protagonists of all these isekais coming together and complain and talk. You just knew it was coming, and it was gold. It was comedy gold. We had an episode where they talk about the little sister characters and all the the siblings have to talk about, you know, different aspects of them, actually giving Sonohara some respect in this entire thing. There was even an interesting element in one of these where it technically got into a seiyuu that has done multiple roles throughout the Key series that I was completely unaware of. And so it was like one of those cool little things like, oh, I learned something. I wasn't even aware of this. But I think a lot of fun that comes from this, and like I said, is similar to something like Isekai Quartet, is having those similarities across so many properties that you're able to bring together. Because obviously there's going to be tropes in a lot of these stories. And so to be able to kind of acknowledge those tropes and really kind of group characters together was really a lot of fun. And I think if anybody is a fan of the Key properties, you definitely need to check out this series. Again, this is including Clannad, Air TV, Little Busters, Rewrite, Canon. These are just beloved franchises that, again, just kind of welcomes a little bit of ridicule, and to have them to really kind of bear all and just throw so much fun at their characters, it was just an absolute treat. I loved every single episode of the series. I don't think there was a single point in the entire thing that I wasn't laughing or just, going, stop making fun of Mises. It's just a great series, and I loved it to death, and I cannot wait for more. This is an absolute gem to check out. But that's my review of Kaginato. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, leave a like down below, comment. Let me know what you thought of the series if you're going to check it out. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon, or throw a tips link in the description below. Definitely appreciate everybody that does, and y'all take care.